Hey everybody, my name is Quicken, and today we're going to be talking about tattoos and skin conditions, and specifically, I just got a skin biopsy. And I don't even know if YouTube will accept this content, but there were difficulties because I'm so heavily tattooed, so I thought I would share that today with you guys with a short, sweet, and medical history of yours truly video. So I know it's been a little while since I've made tattoo content. I made probably only 2 videos since quarantine about tattoos, and it's actually been so long since I've been tattooed that I could donate blood in my state, donate my eggs if anybody needs them. However, I do, with my full heart, hope that you will consider some of my other content that I put equally as much passion into that is not tattoo related. YouTube did actually send me to a class last year all about pivoting your content to explore other categories and topics. Okay class, let's do an exercise. Let's say you are a weight loss YouTuber. However, you have lost the weight and achieved your goals. Now, what would you do to pivot your content in the future to accommodate your viewers? Gain the weight back. Oh, no, well. So with that, I might be a qualified individual to entertain you beyond tattoos. My segue. Also, I have a second channel if you like vlogs, Quicken too. Shameless plug. But let's talk about skin biopsy, let's talk about moles, let's talk about tattoos. So here and there, as a public figure with tattoos online, I am often warned about the effects of having tattoos, but because they're presented to me in such a negative way, I resist them fully. Oh, you're going to regret getting all those tattoos. Yuck. Oh, the doctor is having a hard time finding your moles because of your tattoos. Oh. So recently my life has been like the episode of Parks and Rec when April and her boyfriend get health insurance and go to the doctor 100 times. And I recently went in to get a skin biopsy because I do have some moles on my body that I'm worried about. Not only am I a very freckled person, but I'm also majority covered in tattoos, so I make this process very hard on myself. And I also have moles I've been completely ignoring for a really long time. Now, in mole world, ignoring a mole for a long time can be a good thing because the moles that just come up out of nowhere and are really scary really quickly are the moles you have to worry about. The mole you've had on your neck since the 8th grade is kind of okay in this situation, which I learned through this experience. I kind of thought the older the mole, the more full of poison it was, and that's not the case. So a few years ago when I lived in my apartment, I posted a photo of myself cross-legged on Instagram and got the normal comments like, hey girl. But then I also got a comment that was like, ooh, that mole is not looking right. And when I told myself I didn't sign up for this, I have always remembered that comment. So after talking to my neighbor about some moles, she yelled at me until I went and got a doctor's appointment. And isn't that just the way? So through that, I did sort of collect all the information I could about my moles because you need to know where they are, which I must have given too much credit to the doctors. So initially I thought I would just show up and they would see the moles with their naked doctor eye and be able to be like, yes or no. But that wasn't true. My initial appointment, my doctor did recommend me to a specialist. And this wasn't common with the experience of the other people around me who I talked to about them getting their moles removed. I heard from my friends that they got their moles removed initially on the first appointment that they made. So to be recommended to a specialist, I don't know if this is common or uncommon, but in my case, I had to go to a few appointments. So because I had that much time between appointments, I did keep better track of what was going on. So here is the mole in question here. And there's also a second one inside of the bird's tail. So I don't know how well you can see them, but this one kind of worries me because when I move it back and forth, it's like shiny
I know this is like mole talk, which could be gross, but I've ignored it for a while, and this one, how it's on top of the tattoo, and how this one is underneath the tattoo, just kind of makes me worried. We're heading to the doctor today. It took me about 2 months to get this appointment, but America, I guess, so we'll head there today. I have some other moles that I'm worried about. I don't know if you care about that, but wish me luck, I guess. I don't know what to expect.
If your mole is under a tattoo or not, it is still a mole. And for some reason in my mind, I am very like, if I don't see it, nothing bad will happen. And very realistically, I feel this way. However, between these appointments, I had time to really look at my body, and I found some moles that are under tattoos. Now, in my case, it is kind of difficult because my freckles are coming through my tattoos. I have a video all about freckles and tattoos, and those freckles that were in my tattoos in that video have only increased. I wear sunscreen, I wear long sleeves, I wear UV protective clothing, but just the way my skin type is, due to my genetics and just whatever heritage I may have, my skin freckles. With that, I mention because it is difficult for me to see if it is a freckle in my tattoos or a mole. And like I mentioned earlier, moles that generate very quickly and rapidly and change and get large are the scary ones, not the ones you've always had. So with that, I noticed some moles in my large tattoo on my upper thigh. Come up here. Do the zooms! Do the zooms, baby! So it's easiest for me to see this mole on my upper tattoo, but I have noticed it. Other than that, I took accounts of the other moles on my body, and my doctor did tell me that the dermatologist would look at me naked, so that was cool. When I went to the dermatologist, I think I went to like a teaching hospital, so there was a student in there, and doctor looked at me naked, and I got to tell the student all of my moles, and then the doctor came in and I got to tell the doctor all of my moles. Now I'm very familiar with my body, but both of them agreed that they did not have a protocol for moles in the tattoos. So doctor checked me out, told me I had folliculitis, which is so cool. A body only a carpenter could love. And you're standing there naked and you feel kind of gross because it's all mole talk. In my intake, they were like, do you smoke or like take recreational drugs? Like, do you drink? And I was like, no, I just stay at home all day and grow moles. So that was fun. You want people to laugh at things you say like that, but when they are silent and write down, makes you feel nervous. The doctor gave me my examination, and she did tell me the one on my leg that the Instagram commenter was worried about was one she was worried about as well. Because it had grown and mutated so quickly. I was able to tell her, I don't exactly know when it happened, but I took that photo in 2017, and I'll never forget the comment I received on it. So because of that, she was like, that one should go. She gave me options about the moles in my tattoos because she warned me that there would be damage to the tattoos. I said, girl, I don't care. But my options, if you are concerned about moles in your tattoos, were that I could document the moles and every 3 months come in for a visit so we could compare size and shape to previous records, and every 3 months I would come in. It seemed kind of tedious, like at some point someone would say, I can't do this anymore, take it out. However, if that's the case, there may just be a point where maybe 3 or 4 appointments in a row, when we realize it's not growing or mutating or becoming discolored, etc., all the warning signs of scary moles, that maybe there would be a certain point where it would be okay. You know, if you had a tattoo and something you were worried about, some sort of skin discoloration was affecting the tattoo in a very prominent or important part of this tattoo, that would be an option for you. However, I didn't choose that option because going to the dermatologist every 3 months seemed like something I couldn't do. And although I could keep track of it at home, I don't necessarily know what I'm looking for because the doctor surprised me with a lot of my moles. Ew! The doctor surprised me and told me a lot of them were okay. Even the one on my ass. No, I'm kidding. That checked out. So I was surprised by that. However, we did come to the conclusion that 2 of them were not okay. Because the mole was in my tattoo, there were 2 moles in my tattoo specifically that I was worried about. One she gave the okay to, and one she didn't, and I think a lot of that has to do with the language I used to describe the moles. I said that one seemed to be underneath the pigment on my tattoo, and one seemed to be over top of the pigment on my tattoo. The one underneath could be a freckle, you know? Although it's in a part of my body that doesn't get a lot of sunlight, and there's not any other freckles around it, I was worried about that as well. Now, she said when she diagnoses moles that need to be removed, there are certain things she looks for: irregular border, discoloration, and the tattoo inhibited her from doing those 2 things that she usually needs on her checklist to decide if a mole can stay, need to be monitored, or go. So I told her, do what you recommend, and she recommended the removal. So I wanted to wait until I got the results of my biopsy back in order to make this video. I decided that that might be kind of personal information, but then I decided, do YouTubers have rights? And no. However, with this, she said that the biopsy might be difficult when the lab gets the skin sample because the things they normally look for as well on their side might be more difficult because of the pigment of the tattoo. So the piece of skin that was inevitably removed is in a yellow part of my tattoo. I kind of thought that they would be able to look through the layers of the epidermis and see what is going on here. However, I don't actually really know the process. I just know when I called my grandma afterwards, she was like, "Oh, did it hurt? Oh, did you get a little mole removed? I'm a senior." Yes, I'm a little baby. And when I called someone to be like, "I have an owie," she was like, "You know what they do to me at the doctor's?" Anyway, so we decided on those 2 moles to be removed because those checked most of the boxes for warning signs. So what they do, and it was just then and there, it wasn't go home and recoup, it was in my appointment declared those are wild. The student doctor set up a table that looked really similar to when I got my scarification. So if you don't know, I did have a procedure where I voluntarily got a very similar procedure for aesthetic purposes because I chose to. That was about 10 years ago though. I don't know if I would choose to do it again because every year I become more and more afraid of my own shadow. However, it was the same tools: a scalpel, a dermal punch, gauze, and I did receive local anesthesia, the same local that you would get from the dentist. So as far as pain initially, I did not feel it. I laid down, so I didn't keep an eye on the procedure because I wanted to stay really still and cooperate and be very polite because I'm so honored to be in a doctor's office. I was the perfect patient, or at least I strived to be. I didn't feel much pain other than the initial numbing of the lidocaine. And then afterwards, I was wrapped up. The student doctor said that he applied something to stop the bleeding, and I was a little surprised that I was bleeding at all. So much so that a second product needed to be applied to stop the bleeding. Embarrassing. Oops. I don't want to use more gauze than I'm allowed. The doctor left, the student doctor holding 2 vials of my skin, gave me some aftercare tips, and then left, and the aftercare was to just apply Vaseline until it's healed completely. I thought I could walk home for the doctor and get my steps in, but when the lidocaine wore off, I hailed the closest bus to me and went home that way. Afterwards, I felt really groggy, and then the following day I felt dizzy. So I felt like a baby. You always me. But then I remembered after I got my scarification, I felt like I was hit by a bus and actually slept for a week. My roommate at the time was amazing, and I'm pretty sure she made me zucchini bread. There was no zucchini bread. However, in this experience, so probably why I didn't heal as much as I wanted. The doctor warned me that these scars would be superficial, and no matter what, I would receive scars from the procedure. I've met friends who have little mole removal scars, and they're kind of like a little chickenpox scar. Maybe not even as deep, almost like outward, like my scarification scars, just like a little bump on top. It's only been like a week from today since I received my biopsy. However, I think that the scar from the Instagram photo mole is really, really, really big, and I had no idea it would be that big. I mentioned that because although that mole was not in a tattoo, why you're all here, I am very surprised by the amount of skin that was removed for that one. Luckily, the mole in my tattoo was really, really small. I do wonder though if maybe it should have been bigger comparative to the large amount of skin removed from the other, because it is more difficult to see the mole in the tattoo. So if it comes back that the biopsy needs to be checked out, is cancerous, anything like that, I'll go back in and they will remove even more of the mole. If from the naked eye we don't see it, they will remove much more of it, just like the Instagram leg. That's just what I'm gonna call it. So I would say the amount of skin removed from the Instagram leg is as big as a Starburst candy. It's pretty large and isn't healing as quickly as the other leg, which I would say is basically healed, enough for me to at least show you a little bit of it. If there is no image of it in this video, I had to remove it per YouTube's guidelines. My channel was shadow banned for the longest time without my knowledge because of my scarification videos, which I've had to make really difficult to find on the internet. Excuse me in advance if that's the case. Please like this video because I'm very scared it'll be suppressed. Do me that favor right now, even if you hate me. This information I couldn't find anywhere else until I experienced it, so do me and the community that favor. So, and you can comment as well. Anything to feed the algorithm. You know about the algorithm. The Starburst leg, new name, if that was on a tattoo, it would remove a significant part of the tattoo. Put a Starburst on any one of your tattoos and imagine that gone. Like I said, in this case, I am very lucky that it is not vice versa. However, if the lab isn't able to pull enough information from this sample in my tattooed leg, they will have to go back in and collect more sample, more leg. Like I mentioned, I didn't wait until I got the results because I don't know what I would do with them, but on Twitter or Instagram, I'll probably act out, so you'll probably know if I'm at a doctor's office or not, where they're taking more skin. You might be asking me or yourself if you ever get put in a similar situation, can I get tattooed over top once this is all over? I believe in my case, if I were to get the Starburst removed from the tattoo leg, it would be so much skin that it would leave me with a significant part of my tattoo gone. Now, Mark Cross, the Holy Spirit, had he had major heart surgery, and they actually put his tattoo back together, and it has a scar through it. I think it's really cool. Something you couldn't request, something that has to happen to you in your life. I'm kind of that mindset where I like the idea of the scar over the tattoo. However, this leg, the tattoo leg, I think I will leave it the way it is. I kind of like the lived-in idea that I had a skin biopsy on one of my legs, and I went into tattooing knowing that I was prone to freckling and that I had moles, and I didn't really think twice about it. So I'll leave you with this information and some images of how it looks now.
This right here is the biopsy from my tattooed leg. You can see right here that is the freckle or mole I was worried about right in the bird's tail. And you can see it almost has like a little green cast here, which kind of made me nervous. But this is the one the doctor was worried about. It is not completely healed. You can see there is some redness around there, which you can read through the tattoo. I think because this yellow ink is kind of lighter pigment. So you can read the red ring around there, which is just it healing. That is not anywhere else in the tattoo, so that is my body. And here you can just see the lack of pigment. The black line would have went straight through and you can't see it. Deep in there, and I don't know if that's reading, you can start to see the black line right here and some of the black right here. And moving it around, that black becomes pretty prominent. But overall, when this heals, it will just heal with nothing there. I wouldn't say this is really deep, but significant enough where there is no more pigment. I don't know if I should show this, but this one is much larger and much, much scarier.
I will keep you updated on my Instagram at qcknd if you want to know more, and if something like more biopsy or more flesh needs to be removed, let me know if that's something you would like me to make an additional video about. Leave your questions in the comments down below so I can talk more to the doctor, because she was very helpful and did teach me things I didn't know previous. Sometimes I go into situations as a tattooed woman and think I know everything because I have a YouTube channel, and the doctor did tell me very honest things like the tattoos make this difficult, but this is a part of life and not only a part of growing up, because I've met people who had moles removed when they were 11. However, this is a part of taking care of your tattooed body, and I think that it's really important, something I overlooked for years, and now that I am a part of it, I'm glad that I can share that information with you. Thank you guys so much for being here, being a part of this tattooed community, and people who support me through the rest of the videos on my channel. I really appreciate it. I love you guys so much. If it is your first time here, please do me a favor and subscribe, and until next time, bye!